Vandy adds more pieces in the portal, and there seems to be more on the way.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. In today's episode, we analyze two of Vandy's new additions via the portal. And speaking of that portal, the portal window is nearing a close and moves are heating up. And there's a lot of targets out there that will make a massive difference and add quality depth to the team. And some speculation out there on some possible moves to round out Vandy's roster. And we'll talk all about that here coming up soon. So thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Speaking of you everydayers, shout out to you. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, which is the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now, which is free on the App Store or Google Play. So Vandy gets a pair of commits, one on offense, one on special teams. There's some Vandy's putting puzzle pieces together, and the tight end seems to be a very, very important piece. And I love this because, it's been a while since Vandy has really committed to an identity on either side of the ball, and they're doing it on really both sides of the ball, or even all three phases. So this is exciting news for Vandy. I think you have Cole Spence, you have Cam Johnston, you have Tyler Fortenberry. So you have some depth pieces there at the tight end position. You add now Emmanuel Adbeat from Cornell, tight end there, and he's going to be somebody that is very much a depth piece, very much, a guy that's going to come in and just kind of fit a specific role. And with the tight ends, I think there's a lot of it is I think they're still trying to figure out some of these roles. It's going to be one of those where it is, you're trying to figure out who fits where, who fits into what, and, how does this going to work, and all of that stuff. And I think it's going to be something that they just kind of work out as they go. So Coach LePack gets in a very smart and heady guy. He's going to be a preferred walk-on for Vandy. He's going to be kind of that if you're going to go heavy run scenarios, if you're going to go 13 personnel maybe or 12 personnel, he's somebody that can come in a heavy blocking package. He's somebody that can certainly do that. His stats aren't going to jump out at the table, jump off the table for you. 7 catches, 76 yards last year. But he's somebody that will factor into special teams and can just kind of give you some all-around type blocking situations and things like that. But he's a preferred walk-on, so he's not taking a scholarship away, but he's 6'5", 265. Kurt Page mentioned that there might be somebody coming in that could be that extra offensive lineman, that more athletic guy. And at 6'5", 265 on the smaller end of it, he's certainly somebody that can fit that bill, and he's certainly somebody that can bring a really nasty identity into the run game. And if you really like watching blocking, which you got to be a real true football fan to be able to watch and be able to stomach some blocking, but this guy is a freaking human torpedo. And he's somebody that can line up in the I formation, short yardage. He's going to come through like a freaking hammer. Like a rolling ball of butcher knives, as Stephen Willis says. But he's somebody that not going to be a huge factor in the pass game. He's not being recruited. He's not being added to this roster to do such. He's certainly a depth piece. He's certainly a practice piece. He's certainly a guy that's going to help the defense get ready via the scout team. He's definitely somebody that's going to come in Like if you want to go 12, 13 personnel and you need a dominating blocker, he's somebody that on special teams, Coach LePac saw the film of him blocking extra points. Vandy's in a situation where they need every point's at a premium. So if you can block a field goal or block an extra point, he's somebody that can get a lot of push and has big old long arms coming from the middle of those block coverage, blocking teams, the field goal block, punt block, and all that good stuff. So I really like this kid. I think this kid can add a lot with not a whole lot of pizzazz and not a whole lot of pizzazz needed. But I think when you're trying to, when you're trying to build an identity, when you're trying to establish an identity and you're trying to make it well known that, hey, this is what we're committing to, I think when you have a guy like this coming in, he's somebody that's going to set the tone for what it takes to block, what it takes to be physical, what it takes to just be a guy that comes in and says, hey, I need you to do a very specific role. And he's the guy that's jumping up. Hey, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Right. Talked about it with Kurt. Assembling pieces to the puzzle. This whole thing with Vandy is a giant puzzle. And they need specific pieces to fit specific roles. I strongly doubt that he may not catch a single pass for Vandy, but his impact is going to come from getting his big mid up on an extra point and blocking it. His impact is going to be lining up in 13 personnel when they do tight bunch with Cole Spence on the line, him in the backfield, and whoever else, Tyler Fortenberry on the other side, on the other point with Cole Spence, and he's screaming across there and just decleating somebody from Kentucky. Like, that's the impact that he's going to make. He's going to be in some blocking situations. He's going to be in some goal line situations. That's where he's going to get his playing time. He's going to get his playing time there and on the kick, the punt block, not the punt block, but the field goal block team. He will be a fixture on that team. I can guarantee you that, because I guarantee you Jeff LePac said, hey, listen, he probably sat down with him. He said, hey, look, you're going to come to Vandy. You're going to get a Vandy degree added to your time at Cornell, which is also a prestigious degree. Okay. You're going to come in. This is your role. You're going to be a blocking tight end. You're going to be in goal line situations, and you're going to you're going to block some field goals for us. My goal is for you to block 3 field goals. I need you to account for -9 points for the other team. Can you do that? And that guy probably said, where do I sign? Like that meeting probably didn't take very long. And so everything is a puzzle. And that's how it has to be with a team like Vandy. Like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, those type programs, even Ole Miss has gotten to the point where they're just like, all right, give me the best guy on the list. We'll find a spot. We'll figure it out. Give me the best guy on the list, right? We're just collecting, when they say collect them all, they're collecting them all. And Vandy's like, man, Vandy's taking a different approach. Like Vandy knows that we had to, like, part of the overhaul was them establishing identities, right? Defensively, they've established the identity that we're gonna build from back to front, right? We're gonna build this thing. We're gonna have as talented of a secondary as we can possibly get, and we're gonna figure it out on the front end. And then we're eventually gonna build pieces through the front end, right? And that's how they're going. They say, hey, look, we're going to build these pieces back here. We're going to communicate. We're going to play good coverage, and we're going to account for the lack of depth that we have in the front seven. That's our identity. We're going to be physical in the secondary, and that's going to trickle down through the other positions, right? That's what they've established with their portal moves and some of the things that you're seeing. That's what they're establishing. Offensively, it's going to be heavy run-based, quarterback run-based, RPO, vertical shots down the field, and the tight end in the short passing game. That's what's going to happen. Eli Stowers is still very much a target, and he's still very much in consideration. So you're going to have some things there. It seems like they're putting some importance on finding roles for different types of tight ends. And so you're seeing a lot of that kind of unfold, right? The running back situation. I think Star Thomas has a chance of still transferring here. Offensive line. They're in. We'll talk about an offensive lineman possibly later on. But this is not necessarily indicative of Emmanuel Adebayo being like this huge special piece that's going to come in. It's more indicative of the identity that they're trying to build, the culture around the program that they're trying to build, and adding pieces like this only help with that culture, only help with the culture of, hey, they're trying to get the message across that, hey, you're a piece to this puzzle. You're going to fit in a specific role, and we need you to do that role. They need people to buy into that. This is one of those pieces that helps that message, right? Luke Foungy. Have you ever heard of him? I haven't. But he is brought in for a very specific reason, right? Jeremiah Dillon brought in for a very specific reason. Nate Johnson brought in for a very specific reason. There are roles that these guys are filling. It's not just talent. I would love to be able to get to a point. I would love for Vandy to be able to get to a point where they're recruiting like that, but they're just not there. So they have to find specific people for specific jobs, and they mold everything around. Okay, how can we, like, these puzzle pieces have to fit together if we're going to move the ball down the field. These puzzle pieces have to fit together if we're going to stop people. And these puzzle pieces are going to have to get together if we're going to swing momentum in the kicking game. So that's how that works. That's a pure culture move, and I love it. That's why it's leading. That's why it's leading. These are moves that are showing me that Clark Lee is evolving. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but Clark Lee is evolving. It's happening right before your eyes. I know you don't want to hear that. This is that type of move. Will Conley also joins for Michigan. Speaking of roles, these are two very extremely related type commits because he's a kicker punter, likely going to be a kickoff specialist guy. So you're going to have a place kicker, punter, and a kickoff guy. So that's exciting. There's roles to be filled. Coach LePac is putting an emphasis on special teams because at a place like Vandy, when you're 2-10, you can't overlook anything. So that's very exciting. But we're going to continue with this portal talk. There's some very important targets that have visits set up that are going to be guys that are more than just puzzle pieces, but also fit a very specific role as well. But we'll talk about that next. All right, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You heard it right. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, and player props, and more. I love betting on all of that. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel is America's number one sportsbook. All right. Hey, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN? Are you tired of all that shouting and like you just have to turn down the volume and sit in silence? And even watching closed captioning? Not because you have to, but because you just want to get away from all the shouting? Well, you need to make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, talking portal, it's crunch time in the portal. So there needs to be some more moves made, right? More offensive linemen signed, receivers, running backs, all that good stuff. Some more defensive pieces, but a couple guys have visits set up, and these guys are going to be impact type players. Chase Mitchell from Liberty, offensive tackle. He's 6'4", 310. He's visiting. right now, so we don't know the result of that. I'm expecting him to pick Vandy. He's somebody that can come in and immediately factor in to the battle at right tackle, right? The kid from Casey Hubbard, the guy from Minnesota, also factors into that right tackle job. Gunnar Hansen is obviously going to be the left tackle. He's a returning starter, and I think he's pretty much locked in to that spot with Gage Pitchford coming in at left guard when he gets healthy. But adding depth to this room is something that's extremely important, and I think there's a relationship there between Coach Kleenakis and Chase Mitchell. Hope there's no like shenanigans there with tampering, but you never know. I don't think they can prove that anyway. But Chase Mitchell's somebody that was a starter at Liberty. I think he come in and really make a true impact on the lineup. I think he's somebody that can go and get things done, right? He's somebody that can dominate. And so I'm excited about kind of the possibilities that he has. And so it's something that, when you have depth on the offensive line, you can have guys rotate in and out. You can you can do a lot of different things. And so with that, I think honestly I think he's going to commit. I really do. I have a hard time believing he's not, but he's somebody that's just a big physical type guy. And he is somebody that can come in and help the shortage that we have at tackle. We have a lot. I think a lot of our bodies are guard bodies. A lot of our guys can play those positions. We need a center, which I think Lasoya is going to be. But he's somebody that can really fit into the culture of the run game. I think he's somebody that's physical and comes off the ball really well in the running attack. So he's somebody that I'm excited about, and I think a lot of people would be excited about. And he's a grad transfer, so I think he has 1, maybe 2 years left of eligibility. So it'd be very kind of a quick trip there. But he is in Vanderbilt. He started every game for Liberty, and there's other schools in the mix for him. But I mean, the kid looks the part. The dude is good. So I'm very excited about that, and something that you should be excited about too. And there's pictures of him on Instagram in Vanderbilt uniform. Looks good in that. It looks good with that V on his chest. So it's gonna be interesting to see kind of how that one shakes out down the stretch. So very much needed a playmaking dynamic tackle that can factor into the race. That can factor into depth, maybe even be a starter. Who knows? And somebody that can definitely make this group a lot better and kind of help be that liaison with Coach Kleenakis with the rest of the offensive line group if they haven't already gelled. But he's somebody that can kind of bring a little bit of credibility to what Kleenakis is saying and really kind of be that champion for Coach K and get him going with that offensive line. So that's exciting. Darian Wiley also is a name to watch out for in reading some of these transfer report or these portal reports and stuff like that. It's he's the receiver from ULM, and he's somebody that I think could come in and be a dynamic guy. He's he's 6'1", 192, fast. He had 24 catches for 400 yards. He averaged 16.7 yards per catch. He's re-entered the portal. He transferred to Nevada. He was somebody that I think Vanderbilt was on. But again, you watch him play, you watch kind of his skill set. And I think people can get lost in the minutia of statistics, and understandably so. But when you look at just kind of a guy's skill set and just kind of what he does well, I think he's somebody that can be a good all around guy. He is a type of receiver that is probably closer, if I had to guess, to what Jeremiah Dillon can do as far as just stretching the field, running the deeper routes and kind of getting some yards after catch. He's not somebody that's gonna get those tough yards. I don't think he's going to be a heavy blocker. I think he's going to be somebody that you're going to see when the defense comes down on the run. He's going to be somebody that pops open and makes a big catch on the sideline for a big first down, or make a big play over the top, things like that. Another outside guy, I have to go like 10 personnel to send Sherrill and Skinner into the slots on the inside. So just somebody. He's probably, he's not quite as tall as Luke Foungy. He's not quite as smooth probably as Jeremiah Dillon, but he kind of just fits very solidly in that rotation. I don't think he's going to come in and immediately be one of your starters, but I think he's somebody that could add a lot of quality depth and somebody that could come in and for sure factor in and make some catches. And the beautiful thing about wide receivers is you don't need to be a starter to make a contribution. You don't need to be, it only takes like 7 targets. Like you'd be on the field 10 plays, get 7 targets, and make a massive impact on the game, right? And be highly regarded. Like that's the beautiful part about being a receiver is it's simultaneously really difficult to get on the field and get targets, and really easy to like get big time production because you have like one catch for 80 yards and a touchdown. Like you've made a difference in the game. So he can contribute for sure, and I think he's somebody that's going to be really, really good. But those are 2 guys that are visiting or visited and have a real legitimate shot. But now we've got a couple of guys that I think Vandy should either go after or we're in the mix, but we're not sure kind of where things stand. Like there's a lot of speculation, things like that. So we'll talk more about that here in just a second. Stand by. All right. Talking Monopoly Go. This episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. So, all right, game off. We got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in this game, right? So in Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. There's more to win together. There's more awesome prizes you can unlock. There's so much to get. You can get unique stickers you can trade with a friend to complete albums for big prizes. You get cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton includes their unique mini games like digging for treasure or robot Panchico machines. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's also something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now. Free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. All right, welcome back. Third and final segment. We're wrapping up the show here, talking some Portal. It's Portal. It's Portal madness, right? And things are heating up big time for Clark Lee and Vandy football. They're building culture pieces. There's bigger pieces on the way, possibly. We're going into pure speculation mode now. We're throwing out some targets. We're seeing where it stands, and we're kind of seeing how things can kind of shake out. So the first big speculation that I want to mention is a interesting one, because this guy was on Vandy's roster, transferred in January to Texas A&M, or maybe it was December, to Texas A&M. Now, if you look on his IG, he is, if you look on his Instagram, he has pictures of him in a Vandy uniform. And he scrubbed all of his Texas A&M stuff. Is he coming back to Vandy? To Ricky Wright, that is. It's hard. I don't know. Until he officially lands, I can't really say. But given the circumstances, given what we know, it's kind of hard to say that he's not. You know? And I don't know. Like this is one of those odd ones, right? And so it's got to be something. There's got to be something to it. There's got to be a reason he's posting all this Vandy stuff again when he is obviously committed to Texas A&M. Like it's just odd to see. And so when you really kind of try to break it down, Vandy needs help in a lot of places. It needs depth at inside linebacker. It needs depth at outside linebacker. He's somebody that can come back in, I should say, and play a bigger, more physical role, like a inside linebacker or an outside linebacker. Kind of like a Corday Sindor type deal, where he can put on a little bit more muscle and come after you. He's somebody that can fit in that linebacker room, either inside or outside. He's physical, he's fast, he's smart. He's somebody that can immediately increase the athleticism of those positions. So when you look at this move or this potential move, which I'm not even sure if it's there, but there's a lot of smoke. And there's a lot of things that's just like, okay, what is happening here? And that's one of those situations where you're just left going, okay, we'll kind of play this one out. But Dirkie Wright would be a massive – I don't even want to consider him a portal get. I want to consider him a roster retainee. Because I don't think he was gone long enough to really, like, the impact of him being off the roster would be felt. So I'm gonna say he's a retention if he comes back. Dirkie Wright, if you happen to catch this episode, if you happen to catch this part of the episode, you are more than welcome back. Just come play linebacker and go decapitate some fools. That's some portal speculation. Micah Bell, I saw that he entered the portal. Vandy's offered him. He's somebody that I think is interested in Vandy. I think he's somebody that could come in and play immediately. He is Micah Bell is he's a Nashville kid. He's not a Nashville kid. He's an MPA kid. I forget that MPA, National Playmakers Academy, is a Texas brand now too. But he's an electric dude, and so he's going to have a lot of schools to choose from. The University of Charmin Soft has offered him. The Houston has offered him. Vandy has offered him, and so he's going to have a decision to make now. He's going to have some things to think about at that cornerback position. He can come in. He's one of those guys that can immediately add to what we're trying to do on the defense and the secondary. He's somebody that we're having an identity of having playmakers in the secondary. He's going to be somebody that's going to immediately start over everybody. And then everybody else just kind of falls in after him. So you never know there. But I'm excited to see kind of what happens with that. I'd say it's more of a long shot, but you can speculate. There's got to be some interest there. And lastly, there's a guy named Jamoy Mays. He originally was transferring from Tennessee Chattanooga, UTC. He's back in the portal. I think he went, where did he go? He's back in the portal. And so very, very interesting. Why is it interesting? Because Vandy offered him back in December. Vandy was coming after him in December. And so he decided it was UAB that he ended up at. So he goes to UAB, right? And so he is a guy that again was pretty dynamic, pretty good route runner. Not overly electric at anything, but just kind of somebody that adds depth to the room. He's somebody that could come in and run some routes and make a few catches, and somebody that is good, right? His stats were really good, but just looking at his skill set, he's not going to be a home run guy, but he is going to be a big catch guy, and he is going to be somebody that can be in the rotation as well. And he's somebody that I would like to have on the roster to kind of solidify a little bit of depth and kind of develop into a really good trusted receiver. It's fun, and he is back in the portal. He's visiting. He's somebody that's going to kind of keep an eye on what Vandy has to offer. I think he was thinking about things, and this Vandy offer made things very, very interesting. And so keep an eye on that one too. Keep an eye on this wide receiver position. Keep an eye on everything transfer portal. But that's going to do it for us here on the Locked On Vandy podcast. Man, time flies when you're having fun. But anyway, this one was all about the portal. So as it comes to a close, keep a close eye on it, and we'll keep you updated as always. Okay. But thanks for listening. Make sure you find us on social media at Locked On Vandy. Make sure you find us wherever you find your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hope you have a great hump day, and we'll get you finished off in the week starting tomorrow. Peace out. Anchor down.